Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to respond to some of the observations that have been made. And thank you, Chair, for that opportunity. And I appreciate very warmly the comments that have been made in the main around the chamber that support the position that's been adopted which has been presented through the amended bill that's come back to us from the other place. To respond, I heard again incorrect terminology claiming that this is a misapplication of the law. That claim has been thoroughly debunked, and I've heard it again today, and I need to put it to bed. Even if the amendment had not carried, this would have been a fully legal and legally drafted, robustly drafted application of the law. That was provided in a very hasty response to a surprising claim that came from the Greens in my 5 minutes of summing up back in March. It was further confirmed in the Legislative Council debate on this very matter that we now find ourselves debating. It was dealt with. It was dealt with, including with correspondence from the Minister with the benefit of formal legal advice. I never want to hear it again. It is a false claim. That said, the maximum jail term that's provided for now in the revised bill, or the shortly to be revised bill, brings it into 3 years anyway. So the arguments around the length of maximum sentence that should be provided in a summary court has now reached that point, the maximum of the usual 3 years that's been provided for. And I shouldn't have to, and I won't, in the time available, deal with the fact that there is other legislation on the books, on the statute books, which exceeds 3 years and is still a summary offence. And look, I just want to make that point as I wind up. In terms of Honourable Member for Franklin, Mr George's comments around mandatory minimum, again, briefly, there are other laws on the statute books in Tasmania that this House has previously agreed should impose mandatory minimum financial penalties. Those matters have already been raised in the House, including around drug and alcohol and biosecurity laws. As I wind up, I just want to make Chair, if you'll allow me, just to thank a few important people who have contributed to where we've arrived at today. I really want to place on record my sincere thanks to the RSL Tasmania, its President Mike Gallagher and its CEO John Hardy, its Northern Director Peter Williams and Claire Norton of the St Helens RSL sub-branch. I also want to extend my thanks to other ex-service organisations here in Tasmania who have together with the RSL, strongly supported and encouraged members of each House to find it within themselves to support this legislation. I've already thanked the Labor Party. I also like to thank my own party colleagues, in particular the Premier, Minister Ellis, who's responsible for the Police Offences Act, Minister Pearce, Minister Barnett and their officers. May I particularly record a word of thanks to Rachel Murray in Minister Ellis's office, who supported the debate in the other House. And may I thank as well the Honourable Member for McIntyre in the other House, Tanya Rattray, who wished to and did take this legislation through on our behalf in that House. And finally, to thank Catherine Woodward and the Office of Parliamentary Counsel. We had great expertise and commitment to bring the policy objectives into legislation that will shortly become law. I'm very grateful to her. Colleagues and friends listening, I want to say that this bill is the result of largely bipartisan effort, and indeed including most members of independent quarters of both houses, responding to an incident that really shook our state in a regional community of Tasmania at St Helens. That event did shock Tasmanians, and it shocked many people across the country. It wasn't the first act of vandalism on a war memorial in the country, and sadly it won't be the last. When that event occurred, a number of members of the government, including Mr Shelton, who's a member for Lions, immediately were thinking, how can we support this local community, this local RSL and the council? Before the government was in a position to provide some potential support, the community dealt with the vandalism itself. When I reflect upon the response as a Tasmanian, I feel so very proud. I want to mention Dobson's Monumental Masons, who did the work. They contacted that RSL, they said they want to do the repair, there'll be no cost, and they actually travelled from Hobart to St Helens, a long way, and performed the work with a group of men who travelled all the way from Hobart, and they did it in less than 1 or 2 days. Job done, job finished, no role for government. The community values these special places. I wrote to Dobson's back in the day and I said to them, you know, dear team at Dobson's, may I sincerely thank you so much for your generosity to the St Helens community by repairing the local war memorial. That was extremely proactive, generous, Australian and fast. I really feel so thankful for you all. Hope to meet you sometime. God bless you all for your goodness during a traumatic time for the ex-service and wider community. Michael. And this was the response I got back, as humble and as modest as the best of Australia. Thank you, Michael. We were happy that we could help and make a difference. Sounds great. Thank you. Sean Dobson.
Well done.
This bill has never been about politicians or politics. It's about what our country believes, what our state believes about the men and women who have served this country, many of whom, far too many, have paid the ultimate price of losing their own lives, the potential future life they could have had back home with the people that they love, the children and the grandchildren they could have enjoyed, and of course for the living who returned, never the same, and their families really challenged by the scars that war can cause. So thank you to all of those who've played a role in seeing this really important bill, which is so close to my heart, become law. I believe it will serve as a model for laws in other jurisdictions, as we now have the strongest, toughest, most comprehensive laws in the country that are designed to protect these special places of remembrance. And I conclude then with that acknowledgement and the thanks that while ever we have the important role to remember those who gave their all and who served our country, that the least we can do as living civilians in our own country is to honour that memory and never allow ever that remembrance to pass from our daily life. So lest we forget.
Thank you.